back in the shed again today. Bit of a washout for the weather, so a bit more wrenching. Just finishing off now the last car from our run up in Reading. Need to do the cush drive and the centre gears on the XRT with the new GPM upgrade as we chewed them up, bashing it about in Reading and a few jumps maybe. I've already taken the bash bar off as I knew I was going to have an issue as the threads were coming out previously on the bolts. I epoxied the hole and then put the new bolts into them, so I knew it was going to be a bit of an issue getting it out. So that's all out now, so we'll now start stripping down so you can see how to take the back end off and get access to the main centre diff so you can change the cush gears over. So check it out guys, I'll switch it over to the other camera. Thanks again. Alright guys, as you can see I got the GPM bash bar off ready. So just to make this a bit easier to get access to everything, I'm going to take the wheels off the back of the truck as they just get in the way in the end. So we'll get these off first. Okay. So it's currently running the sledgehammers off the X-Max because I blew one of the belted tyres that was on the XRT, so just waiting for a new set to arrive for them. But yeah, it's a lot easier if you take the wheels off the truck, whether you're working on the front or the back. It's a lot easier if the wheels are off. They don't get in your way where you're trying to access everything. First step, take those off. Wiggle them off. Right. Let's keep those locking nuts safe. I'm going to put those wheels over there for now. So when you got your truck apart, you need to take off 4 bolts here for the back plate, so that can be removed so you can get access to the back. Then you've got another 2 screws here either side, they need to come off, and these 2 screws either side. So the 4 inner ones are for the motor mount, so don't undo those, just want the 4 by here to be removed so you can end up pulling the truck apart once we take the top ones out as well. So let's check, they should be 2.5. Actually I got the electric one ready to go. And in the last video guys, I put the links for these tools in the last video. I'll put them again in this one. But these are awesome for the price of them guys. These are awesome set of tools and they're cheap off AliExpress. So check them out. 100%. I've used them now on 3-4 trucks and they've been brilliant. £6, you can't go wrong. So those 4 outer ones on the centre plate, and then the 4 out of the back protection plate on the rear. All you need to do on the base of the truck, I did drop one of my screws. There. Right, let's get this cover off now. So inside, 2 screws either side here need to come out so we can then separate the back end. Didn't think that screw was as long as it was. So it can be a bit daunting when you first do a strip down. I've taken this apart once on the first run because I broke the back chassis doing a stupid 40-foot jump in the sand dunes. Second time when I replaced the motor and ESC, I upgraded the centre diff to the Traxxas overdrive gears, and these have become damaged by jumping them, so I'm now putting a set of GPM hardened steel in. Those four out by there, and I believe it's these inner four either side of the motor mount that need to come out as well. And like I said, this is all from previous strip downs, makes it a bit easier to remember how to strip it out. Right, finally out. Same the opposite side. Don't know why I'm using the hand tool when I got the electric one. So this one's running the 1100 kV and the Max 6 ESC scorch box motor mount, and the GPM front and rear diffs, and the GPM 1.5 mod pinion and spur gear. Now we're going to the GPM centre diff as well. If this last one wants to come out. Right, that should be everything to put him apart. Let's take this cover off as well. I don't think you need to, but I'm gonna take it off just to make it a bit easier. There's a Scorch Spark motor cover, only like 15 quid, so a lot cheaper than buying the Vitavon steel one, so I went for that option instead. So yeah, main gears are fine, it's literally just the cush in there and the main diff, or main center gear we need to change. Make sure you don't lose that. There's part of your drive chain in there. A little bit of a clear out. Looks like we picked up quite a bit of sand on the last outings. So what we got? Try and get these in the right positions. So I'm just unplugging these, just so I don't have to have both things in my way while I'm working on the back of this. So yeah, once that's out, we can actually start getting a bit easier access. We'll take the top cover off by ear, so we'll do that first, and then we'll strip down the back end of it all to get access. Again, the longer screws, guys, they go on the inside of this gear cover. What I do is put those back in the right holes so you don't mess it up when you put them back, and you don't lose the screws either. So we will loosen up the motor mount. Just so I can get the spur out, basically. You don't have to loosen it a lot because this is the motor lock one. It'll just roll over to the side. And as you can see, that has been chewed. Half of it has disappeared. So really munched away on the last run. So, but if you're gonna have fun with your cars, you're just gonna have issues, and you're just gonna have to maintain them. That bearing's running nice and smooth, so we're all good with that one. Stick that on there so we don't lose that. That's not going back on. So, right, now we've undone that, we've got the rest of this to remove. So, trying to remember what it was previously. Could I get in there by just undoing that, or is that locked in toward the top? There's going to be a bit of trial and error with this. I can't remember what I need to remove, so I think we'll go with the top hinge pin holder. If I take that off first. And yes, for those who can see how filthy the car is, yes, I know. Been doing a event up in Reading, great bash session with some friends. You can check out the video on the... Right. When in doubt, get a hammer. That's bent like shit. Right. Let's get that out of the way, just to make this strip down a little bit easier. So I think we're going to need to take them out. So just trying to remember how I did it before. I think you take these arm pins out at the top. And should give us access. Right, once you got that off, so hinge pin holder and then the hinge pins for the top arms, and this section will lift up out the way so you've got access. So again, you got another couple of bolts in here. Wrong side again. And you do need to take the top two bolts out of the diff casing. We've got the aluminium diff casing on here too, just to help secure those gears better. And you still don't want to move. I might have to loosen him all, as he's very, very tight. Taking the diff housing off just so I can get this out. That's the main drive gear for the back diff. See the teeth? Alright, there's a little bit of tiny little bit of damage to the outside, but they're alright. But if you notice this gear again, this is all chewed to bits. So we got brand new to put on there. So just going to clean this out a second in here first, and then we'll switch the gears over. Just because those gears are stripped, obviously the teeth are in here somewhere. You want to get all that crap out, because it's just going to damage any new gears you put in there. I'll grind them up. A lot of this is just grease and sand mixed together, and where I've been running in the sand dunes. Doesn't make a nice working environment in here. So try to get the majority of that cleaned out. And so our gears last a bit longer rather than grinding themselves down on sand as well. Right, I think that's the majority of the crap out of there for now. We'll spray them down again just to soak in. And we'll clean him back out at the end before we do everything else. So right, now we need to strip this off and put the new one on. Four screws, or 4 bolts, whatever you want to call them. Take those off. once that's off, ease him off slowly. You don't want to lose any of your grease and gears inside there. Again, you just want to pop this through. So you get a rubber washer and the gear. Stick that back on top there for now. That's our damaged one, so we're checking him over there. And as I said, we got the new hardened steel GPM ones to go on. They do give you all the nuts and bolts and everything to go with it, but I'm going to use the stock ones. That's because we know they fit in the holes tidy. Again, all little lock pivots on there, so you can't line it up wrong. Again, just a matter of putting them in, finding those pivot points, and he should lock down. What we will do is we'll put that in there, make sure we've got the seal, and then we'll lock him down. So again, when you do these guys, do it in a diamond just to keep them in. This wasn't lined up right. Don't do it tight to start with. Just get them going in slowly. Once you got all four of them in, tighten them down, but always do them up hand tight with the manual one at the end. Obviously, I'm not the most organised with my tools. I just take them out, use them, and then put them back after. But it is nice to keep things a bit tidier while you're doing stuff. So I will put these back in so I don't end up losing them on the floor. Right, that's done. Let's put our main cush gear on to drive that centre diff. Like I said, they're all hardened steel, all from GPM. So everything should run very nicely now. Just going to re-grease these bearings up and clean them up before they go back in. Probably don't want to use that one because I just cleaned all the crap out of that. So your one bearing on the back, your other bearing sits on the end of there. And I got them open and I can see the teeth have worn slightly on that back. I'm going to put in a couple there's a couple of spacers on the end. Just to keep it nice and tight. Right. So let's get him back in where he needs to go. Wrong way round. Happy days. He's gonna go back into there. Oh. Let's stick him back on first. Yeah, and I'm gonna clean this out. Again, tighten up with that manual at the end. And I did notice when I was taking this apart then I was missing 2 bolts, so I don't think I put them back in originally when I stripped him down and done the gears before on there. So we'll put 2 in to replace the ones that are missing. Let's check. There's not a lot of depth, so they should be fine. Right, let's get that rear gear back in there. Let's get this rear diff back in and everything built up on him. Make sure you put your drive shafts back in, otherwise they're a pain in the ass to get in after. Just going to put a little bit of fresh grease on that back diff while we're here. That's more than enough. Right, so that's the back diff all greased up. Let's put the cover back on. Nice and tightly in. Right. Let's get these bolts back in. It's been a bit of a pain in the ass, it won't go in. There you go, in the end. Right, I think before we put the rest of that together there, we're going to stick these gears back in because it's easier to screw them down when all that isn't in the way and you're trying to get around it all. Right, that's it. We will put the old ones back in then. Right, untighten now. We'll just check those back ones. Right, all tightened up. Right, let's get this tightened back up on the motor mount with the pinion and the mesh. A little bit too tight for my liking. There we go, I think that's about right. Right. Now, let's start getting this all locked back in together. In there. On there. These two screws in, hold that in place. Make sure you get your rear drive shaft in. Right, pins can go back in. Right, sorry, I got a bit quiet there, guys. Just fucking concentrating. So, get your pinions back in on the back. Get your arms tied back in. So, everything's in there, nice and tight, ready to go back on. That is literally everything back in place to go in. So, we are going to now, where did I put those? Right, just going to lock the top casing and that back into each other. Or should I? No, I'm going to wait till we put it back in the car. I'm just going to put them in place ready, so we can then lock them in once they're done. Again, I think I put them in the wrong place. So, okay now. Right, that's all back in place, that's in place. Let's put the cover back on and lock that down. There's my little one for that. Right, that's job done for that part. Everything's back in. Right, now we can connect the car back together. So again, just because it's full of sand, just going to give it a quick clean out and a bit of GT45 and a brush wherever I put my brush. We got this blower, may as well use it. Right. So literally slide. You do need to make sure you get this drive shaft in and fitted correctly, otherwise you'll be only two-wheel drive. It will go back in once you get it right. There we go. He goes back in. Let's get the back end bolted back together. Just noticed I put the wrong screw in somewhere else before now. Right, get those 4 in. Now, 4 either side of the motor. And then we got the 4 bottom ones either side of the motor mounts again. Last 2. And that is literally back together. We just get the wheels on now. Remember where I put the nuts. I will take him for a run in the morning just to test everything is running smoothly. So taking the X-Max out to do a paddle run through some swamped out, or where the river has flooded over into the fields down by us. Bit of a laugh, use the paddle tyres, make a cheeky little video, and let's wait for some proper dry weather so we can get back out running the cars again. Right, so get that front plate mounted in properly. Right, so it's back when we have to remount. Obviously the bolts we had are completely bent out of shape, so I'm going to put 2 bolts in there now, either side. That's going to do it. 2 M4s. Yeah. I'm going to put 2 M4s instead of 1 bolt all the way through. No, actually. We'll get a longer bolt to replace that one that's bent. But these 2 M4s for now will do. We'll hold it in place. Right. Front, and then it goes that way round, I believe. Yep. And it's the issues I was having with the threads coming through, and then I put epoxy down the holes just as the threads had ripped through. I'm actually going with M5s in there now, so they're going to be thicker. In there, they'll hold it for the time being. Next time I have any issues, I'll just start replacing the chassis pieces, but this should do for the time being. If there is an issue in the future, we'll change it out, but I believe these will be more than enough for what's required. You can hear they're going in nice and tight, so I don't think I'm going to have an issue with this now. think this is going to be spot on. So to actually get these to fit, I did have to drill out the holes on the GPM bash bar. Just slightly bigger, because they could only take the width of an M4 before. So just slightly bigger to take the M5s. I think this is what it should be in there. I've had numerous times I've jumped it. Yeah, it's been a big jump, hard landing, but the threads have pulled through, so don't think it's going to happen on this now. But we'll see. Time will tell. And I don't believe that is going anywhere. So, job done. And last thing before I forget is those wires need to go back in the motor that I took out earlier. And right. There's another car done, guys. Right. Right then, guys, that's me done for the night. The XRT hanging back up on the wall, all sorted, and the X-Max is going out in a video that you should see over the weekend, another paddle tyre video, testing them out again. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you again. Cheers, guys.